Student Life Committee for a year now, and I'm really excited to bring my ideas to the table, and if you guys vote me in to be the VP of Student Life.
Hi everyone, this is Gokul. I am pursuing a dual major in mechanical and aerospace engineering. A fun fact about me is this is my third school for my undergraduate studies. I've been transferring, but I love IIT. And I'm contesting for VP Student Life. I've been a senator from Armour College of Engineering, representing them. And I've been on organizations like ASME, on the board of ASME, Indian Student Association, and South Asian Student Association. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Kelly. Thank you for taking time out of your schedules to come listen to the debates. I'm a third-year business student here on campus. I'm an active member of the Phi Kappa Sigma fraternity and also the serving Greek Council president.
I guess we're going to go ahead and start with Megan. And your first question is, what is your top priority for this position?
So my top priority for this position is, once again, to get, it's kind of been said before, but it's really important to get students compassionate about the issues on campus and be willing to change them. I think that just making sure that everything that we do is really centered all around campus, and that every student knows a little bit. Every student has a complaint. Everyone's always complaining. So I think it'd be great if when someone's complaining, you can just say, "Hey, SGA could help you with that complaint," or "SGA is working on that already." So I just want the general campus to know about what SGA is doing, and specifically Student Life. I'd love to get people actually like to go to the Commons or like the meal plans, and I love to get a lot of things done and students just to be happy at IIT, because I'm pretty happy here, but I'd like everyone else to be as happy as me.
Okay, my number one priority is to get maximum students involved on the campus activities and to lift the student school spirit. That's what we IIT students lack in. There are some proactive students like you guys, you care, you're listening to us, but majority of us don't care what's happening around the campus. So I want to make their experience of 4 years of undergraduate studies or graduate studies worthwhile, so that when they graduate out of IIT, they are proud of the student life they had in IIT and make their experience worthwhile.
In my 3 years here on campus, the biggest thing that I've noticed is that IIT students like to talk. We just don't like to talk to the right people. We like to complain. We like to, say that, Commons isn't open late enough. They don't have a wide enough variety of food. And what I want to do is make sure that those complaints hear the correct voices. I would, hold bi-weekly forums with the active students to make sure that those voices are actually heard within the student government, as well as each student knows what their constituents are doing.
All right. Your second question is, how can you make sure your committee can address new issues while maintaining progress in old initiatives? Gokul?
Yes. First of all, I'll make sure whoever is in my committee, they come up with their own projects. If I assign them a project, they might not have as much interest in that as I have. So let them come up with their own ideas. I wouldn't be leading them, but I would be rather mentoring them. I would be standing with them wherever they need guidance. So I would let them be their own leaders and lead themselves. And of course, we've been doing a lot of work as I was a Student Life member. We've been doing a lot of work on the previous issues. So I'll make sure that they don't stop in between. But I would not be forcing any new project on anybody who doesn't want to take it.
A man's actions are only, a man's honor is only as strong as his words. Everything that I say that I will do, and I want to make sure that everything that the students want me to do are things that I will do. 2 Fridays ago, we had St. Baldrick's here on campus, and you might notice that I'm currently without eyebrows, or eyebrows that are growing back. I challenged the Greeks to raise a certain amount of money. They beat that challenge, and just like I said I would, I shaved them off. Just like I say I will in VP of Student Life, if a student wants me to do something and has a legitimate reason to do it, I'll make sure that it happens.
Okay, so I think one of the most important things in getting new issues and the old issues done is making sure that there's a lot of communication within the committee. There's a lot of times that someone might not be as passionate about something as you think, and so they might not be as interested and might get pushed on the back burner. There's also tons of students graduating, and a lot of things that seem really important at first kind of get pushed back, and then you're really disappointed because they don't get as far. So as the VP of Student Life, I would be very, I would communicate very well with everyone and see where they're going, and I wouldn't push them to produce all this stuff right away in case I would really want them to be able to tell me if they were having a bad week or something, or if they had a lot of work to do. I'd really want them to just be able to communicate with me, and that honest communication, because that's the way that things get done. And I think one of the things to just keep letting people know about what's happening around. And if someone comes in with a new idea, then I would encourage them to come to the committee meetings. That's what happened with me. So I would just keep encouraging them to come and bring up their own issue and work on the project, because you're going to be most passionate about what your idea is rather than someone else's.
Thank you. Back to Dan. How can you, through your position as VP of Student Life, support the efforts of student organizations and extracurriculars, such as intramural sports or service projects?
That's a very good question. One of the things that concerns me about the Illinois Institute of Technology is that we have roughly 2,300 undergrads and 3,700 graduate students. About only 20% of those people make up our student organizations. While it is important to contact the student organizations and the athletics department and other organizations here on campus, we also need to focus on the student who doesn't have the voice. Students who are involved in Greek life, or are on the soccer team, or are part of SAS, or things like that, they have the voice, they have things that can be heard. What I find most important is finding those people that don't have that voice, while obviously not neglecting the student organizations as well.
Okay, I think just getting a lot of people involved, and like Dan said, targeting those people that aren't as involved. I mean, it's really easy for us to send out an email to a bunch of student orgs, and most of the time the leaders are going to say something. So we can always improve on making our transparency to student organizations. We have to target those people who may not be interested. I think one great way that SGA does is constantly approving these new groups. There was a Gathering the Magic group approved, and I know that would target some students that might not be as interested in the sports teams and the other teams, and the other like SGA type things. But another thing that I'd like to personally do is, I think one of the best ways to contact students is to go to their natural places. I think I'd make more of an effort to go to the Commons, because I always remember having great conversations with students at the Commons. And in order to get off-campus students, I might go to Center Court and have those same conversations, because I want the students that have these complaints, but their voices aren't being heard, I want to target them as well.
Do you mind repeating the question once again so that I'm not diverted?
Sure. How can you, through your position as VP of Student Life, support the efforts of student organizations and extracurriculars on campus?
Okay. First of all, I would like to make it clear, SGA is not a programming organization. We don't program. We facilitate the other organizations who program. We give them a platform. So what is needed is we have a lot of student organizations working on campus. First of all, I believe that we should have a common meeting of all the student org leaders. They should meet once and talk amongst each other what's happening on campus, you know. They should know what my organization is doing. I should know what the other organization is doing. So that would help us co-program a lot of events, and that would save a bunch of money. Second thing, I would like to say that with the new student orgs, I know there are a lot of student orgs we approve, they run for an year, and then when the board graduates, they just stop. So I'll make sure whatever student orgs we have on campus, they run in a smooth manner, and I promote leadership on campus. Thanks.
All right, and your last question is, housing and dining are perpetual concerns of student life. What are your priorities for increasing quality and decreasing the costs of these services?
Okay, well, I'll start with dining a little bit. There's always problems with people not liking the food, and that's never gonna, people are always not gonna like something, the food. People, so a lot of different tastes. But I think just giving students the opportunity to know about their choices and to be able to make those choices. I recently drafted a thing where at the students' orientation that they would be able to, for freshmen that are living on campus, that they would be able to know what their meal plan is really about rather than just reading that little tiny paragraph. So I think that would be one way to get just them more educated. And obviously cutting down costs would be just to find efficient ways and sustainable ways to get these things up, maybe using different materials and also educating people about the environment and stuff, because there's definitely ways that we could reduce water. And then housing, obviously just keeping the communication up with housing and making sure you talk to the right people and are just voicing the opinions of the students.
I'm glad you asked this question. Okay, about the housing, I would be quick here. When we have the finals week, I don't live on campus, I live in Bridgeport, so I have a lot of students who live in my house in the finals week because they have a final in the evening and they have a final the following morning. So, and when I work with the housing department, I know a lot of rooms in MSV, SSV are empty. So I propose for something called the temporary housing. The students who commute, who have long commutes, can come and check in a room for as less than $20 and they can stay there for a night. That would benefit the housing and that would benefit the students too. Regarding the food, yes. First of all, we don't have a lot of healthy eating options. You know, people crib about it, health conscious people say everything is oily, it is, you know, junk food. So yes, we need a lot of healthy food. And second thing we need is more variety for vegetarians. There are a lot of vegetarians. We have 39% of international students. There are a lot of vegetarian students in them. So I would advocate for more vegetarian eating options. And of course, cost would be a big factor. Food should be made affordable to every student on campus.
I currently work and have worked in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions for about 7 months now, and I'm very upfront with the prospective students that come to campus. When I tour them through the cafeteria, when I tour them through McCormick Student Village and State Street Village, I'm very upfront about what their expectations of the living environment and what the cafeteria should be. So long as you're upfront with people and you know, and they know that their voice can actually be heard, there won't be as many complaints. 2 years ago, we started the Student Speak survey, and I will continue to support that with as much fervor as I can, because since then, I know the quality of student life has increased dramatically, and I will make sure that it continues to do so.
And that concludes the tech news questions, but we do have a question from an audience member. In your position as VP of Student Life, you are aiming to improve students' experience at IIT. How do you aim to help graduate students and commuter students that typically spend minimal time on campus? And we can start with...
See, yes, that's a concern. Most of the graduate students we have live in Prairie Shores or South Commons. They have a lot of problem. It's just 4 blocks away, but they have problem in commuting from IIT to there at night. So you might have seen campus safety ferrying them from here to there all the time. It's a trouble for them. So I would, since the campus safety is, we can work with campus safety with this position. So I would work with campus safety and tell them to deploy more officers at night and patrol that area, because we've had mugging incidences during the night, so that people who live in Prairie Shores and South Commons, most of the graduate students, they feel safe and they can come on campus anytime they feel like. And for the graduate students, I know they're not very involved, they don't have time, but yes, I am dedicated towards solving the problems. And friends, let me tell you, I may not be a good speaker, but my actions will speak louder than my words.
I personally enjoy the theory behind what this building is. But its practice isn't as great as what it's supposed to be. Every other campus that I've visited has a phenomenal student union that students feel comfortable relaxing, spending time in, and conversing with other students. This building unfortunately doesn't do that, but I think that it has the potential to do so. By working with the students, we can make the student union, the MTCC, what it's supposed to be, and that will increase the commuter students' buy-in to the university. As far as graduate students go, I think Gokul had a very good point in saying that they do not have a lot of time